RedIn30. We back. Welcome to RedIn30, where we make you red in 30. Literally, we've got 30 minutes to do this. We're gonna start up with some music. It's called Spin. Yeah, that's EJ right there too, by the way. The boy is multi-talented.
You know your purpose.
Play your part.
Cause what you know, that's what you taught. Never catch me popping with these politics.
Turn up.
I don't throw the brick and hide my hand. That's some cowardice. I'll put the pressure to your chest and bring a cold sweat. You can't stop the shine like the ice on the Rolex. Y'all be talking reckless for some clout that don't mean nothing. Beating on the truth. Got a buck trying to hear something. I'ma push you. So you wanna get the business clear. Only taking action if you gonna make it better here. You ain't proving nothing to me just because you took a kneel. Talking like I'm talking cause I know they ain't gon' stop a kill. They gon' eat about my head cause they say that the price is right. I came with the gang and we touching, we ain't playing nice.
Oh my God.
Spin the wheel. Fresh game.
What you wanna say? Tell me what you wanna say.
My mic not on?
It's on. We can hear you.
Oh, this is my favorite verse from EJ.
Hey,
I love all the songs he's ever done.
it's so hype. It like gets me so turned.
Right.
Hey dog.
like this
Hey
verse.
dog. Spin.
I tried to memorize it.
I still got a stage dive off this.
Shout out to Joe. What up, Joe? You got stage dive, huh?
Oh yeah.
Man, turn them up. We're gonna listen to this whole song.
On every single record, man, I'm killing the game. I am keep telling to make it. They hit in my phone, but I know that they faking. I don't trust nobody. If I trust you, then you special. Plotting on the Hellcat, I might just buy the Tesla. 50 on my wrist, like literally in dollars. I'm a lame kid, Twitter got like 80 followers. I done been through so much, nobody can relate to. Shoot shots and make movies, man, it's gotta be take two. I'm sleepy and I'm droopy eyed like I've been smoking that K2. I'm finna get some BBS's, I'm still going for the rate too. You gon' run up on the wrong one and get smoked. Call me Lil Yachty, but this hell big boat. I just spent a cool 50 on this mink coat. Hey, top bandana around my head like a rope. Spin the wheel. Fresh game, got the massive bill. Spin the wheel. Fresh game, got the massive bill. Spin.
Is that swag with the
wheel. Fresh game, got the massive bill. Spin the wheel. Fresh game, got the massive bill.
I have no need to say lies. I will repeat all my tries. I go to war with my guys. G.O.D. rip till I die. Trying to get out to the vibe. I'll take a lick when I try.
I know it.
So I just stay on the grind. I know when it's the right time. I'ma keep the clip in my pocket. That's an extra one. 20 racks of clip in my pocket. I don't need a gun. Boy, you better not trip. Don't get stupid, cause I got me one. Keep that on my hip, just in case somebody thinking something. I'ma talk the truth, keep it real, cause I'm living that. I stay in the booth, keep that skrill, I be giving that. You just want a deal on the ghost, I've been driven that. Take it through the roof, 33, what's got it pimpin' that? Let her know my name, cause she always tryna talk to me. Let her know my game, so she know what to expect from me. I will never change all the things that are good about me. I be on the brain, classic movie like a symphony.
Spin the wheel.
Yeah, boy.
Fresh game, got the massive bill.
Yeah.
Spin the wheel. Fresh game, got the massive bill.
What we doing?
Spin the wheel.
Yeah.
Fresh game, got the massive bill. Spin the wheel.
Yeah.
Fresh game, got the massive bill.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. Well, listen, welcome to RedIn30, where we make you RedIn30 literally. We cool it out right quick, right? I'm up here sweating, bro. That was Spin by the homie. Hello, my name is EJ. I got a little Donovan Montreal on there, a little Dro on there, so, check that out. Go look that up if you want to get hype while you're working out. RedIn30 is a 30-day reading of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We believe in the entire Bible. We believe the Bible is a story about who you are, but we believe the red words tell us who we really are in the story. Search the script. When you find Jesus, you find yourself and what you're supposed to be looking like. It's funny, too, because the coming off that last part that we did, right, with the water and the wine, and it was like, what the statement was? I'm trying to remember. Turning wine into water is just as great, right? what I found out, bro, and this is a great segue to I guess what I want to talk about for this pod. That people are willing to go to enormous extents to get what they want. What I found out at the end of that, and we talked a little bit off air, was that Jesus was actually testing them so much. Now watch this. That's y'all holy pots. That's y'all priests. That's y'all the Jews. So y'all, this is y'all religion. This is what, you know what I'm saying? This is what you say you stand for. Right? So y'all know the pots were holy. So when I pointed to those pots, I was testing you to see how far you really go. How far would you go, right, to get what you want? And I realized that you would go into the holies. You would take the holies of holies, and then of course the water pots wasn't, but you get the concept. Jesus is testing them out. You would go and take that which you know is holy, and dump just to go get what you want. This is how far you go. EJ, that is an addiction. Mm-hmm. We have become addicted to our wants. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That's more than this is not a mistake anymore. See when they test you, when there's a test or a temptation, what a temptation is, when you fail the test, it is not a mistake. This is your mindset on it. You get what I'm saying? It's almost like when I used to take tests, take tests in school. Mm-hmm. We all did. I used to take tests like I was the only one. Right? We took tests in school. And sometimes, I remember algebra used to have them long problems.
Right.
Some of the tests were only 5 problems long, and the problem would be a paragraph you got to work out, right?
Show your work.
You got to show your work.
You got to show your work.
Because showing your work shows if you really know the formula or not, right?
Yep.
Now, a mistake in this would be you carried the one wrong somewhere. You put a wrong parentheses or a wrong something in another place. But for the most part, the rest of your work would be on point. So it would be a mistake because you weren't all the way off, right?
Yep.
But you just may have made a mistake somewhere in the calculations. Or even if you got a problem wrong, you may have made a mistake. Mm-hmm. But if you fail the test, if you got the formula wrong or you got the next problem wrong or the next problem wrong, that's why they put more than one on a lot of them. Mm-hmm. Because I'm really trying to see, you really don't know this.
Right.
Right. So who you really are is the person that don't really know how this goes. Mm. See, it's not a mistake. See, if it were a mistake, then it would show in your work. Ain't that crazy? It would show that it's a minor thing that you missed in the process of doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
You got everything, you were doing everything else right, but it's a mistake.
Right.
But a lot of times those tests tell you, because you have a chance. Y'all out of wine. All right, it's a party. Y'all out of wine. All right, you got it? Party, y'all out of wine. So that means you partied up. You should be good. And y'all still wanted more. And here's the test. Okay, cool. He could have picked anything. Go take those pots.
Right,
now watch the test. Now let me go. Can I go back into they say someone with like so many firkins. It ends up being like 50 or 60 gallons per pot almost. You know what I'm saying? It was that much.
Right.
So it took that much work. And remember now, we've talked about this before. I said, miracles aren't easy, you know what I'm saying? But now I'm seeing you had a lot of time in this process. I'm back to the rich and ruler now. He said, go sell what you have, give to the poor, then take up your cross and follow me. You lay up yourself church and help you, and you'll see what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. In the process of going do this, even though Jesus sees him go away sad, this boy still has a chance to change his mind to do what he needs to do.
Right.
But that's not who he is. He wants what he wants more than being who he's supposed to be. So now we got this process with the pots. You really have a chance to say, hold on. These are the holy pots. Can we do some other pots? Which have been a pass to the test.
Right.
Even though you're trying to do what, Jesus is rabbi, master at the time, whatever you want to call him. Or even if you get there, you might, walking down there, you might say, I don't know, right? Like, but you go to extincts, right? Whatever he says till you do it, right? They go and do it, and it's a test for them. This is the last pod is about. Y'all, if y'all didn't see it, y'all go check the last pod. I guess we're going to call it water is greater than wine. We're going to water, great sign of wine, right? But it shows me that the want lifestyle. You can have what you want. You can get what you want. Work for what you want. Right? All that has become an ultimate addiction to who we are.
Yep.
And this is why it has us acting out of sorts. You know, when people get high or they're strung out on whatever kind of drugs, they begin to act out of sorts. They're not acting the way that they really are.
Right.
You get it?
Right.
Because it's an addiction. Our wants have become an addiction that we can't get rid of. We can't get over the high. Every time, and I'll prove it to you, because you had enough wine, y'all probably slizzard already,
and you want more,
and you want another high. You still chase. They say when you do cocaine or crack cocaine for the first time, they say it because I have no idea, right? But they say you do crack cocaine for the first time. They say you're always chasing that first high, and that's why you continue.
Yeah.
Because the first high, you never, it's off of never feeling the high before, and now you're consistently chasing it, and that's what makes you an addict.
Anything that gives you a high, you will chase it.
You're gonna keep chasing it. That's why I have sex addicts, addicts, alcoholics. Right. They're chasing, and I'm not. They're chasing that high. They're chasing that inebriation. They're chasing that sensation.
Yep.
They're chasing it. It becomes an addiction.
Yep.
All right. And it's a great segue because I realized that I wanted an addiction. Now you say, well, how do I deal with it? Well, I got away from the deal with it. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. I text you earlier today. Shout out to the dogs, to the shepherds. We got, how many we got? We got 10, 11. We got 11 grown. We got a bunch of puppies now. But anyway, shout out to the shepherds. We got one shepherd. He's he's silver and white. I mean silver and black, but he's a silver saber. We call him Chess because it's black and white. You know, he's being witty with the name. But shout out to Chess. But we have built a new pen. We have some kennels, and we've been working on how to house all those dogs. There's a lot of dogs. German Shepherds are very big dogs, and they're active. So we made this pen. It's 100 yards by 100 yards, 100 feet by 100 feet, whatever. And we had one dog that we put in there, and I'm not even going to put her name on here. One dog put in there, and she just was so nervous and anxious and anxiety that she walked so much she made mud. It's almost like mud trails on the edge of the pen. So every time it rained, it made mud trails. Thank God it hadn't been raining much and it's drying up some.
Right.
Her and Chess were in the pen. So they were in the mud. Chess was in the mud so much. And it was a good setup out there, but it's just these mud trenches. So he was in the mud so much that just a couple of days ago before this pod, we were out there and he had been in the mud so much. If you know anything about a German Shepherd's tail, it's bushy. He had been in the mud so much that the mud had kind of matted up on his back leg and matted up on his tail. And so, you know, we felt bad about it. You know, and we try to get him out, let him run often, but sometimes it's just the weather, the nature, whatever. Mm-hmm. So we got him out of there. And we started shooting him off with the you remember me shooting him off with the hose?
Yeah.
But that mud was almost matted up on his tail.
Caked on there like
it was caked on there. Some of it was coming off, but it was very difficult. It was almost going to be to the point where maybe we were going to have to, you know, just shampoo it out over days by days or maybe even shave the tail. I was considering doing that because I didn't know that the mud was caking up on his tail like that. Right? So we were trying to shoot it off, couldn't get it off. So I said, well, let's do this. Let's take Chess, put him in another kennel. They got other kennels that we had that's off the ground. I thought the space would be better for him to run, but because of the mud, we got to get that fixed, right? So I said, well, let's put him in the kennel and maybe it'll allow him to kind of dry out, let the mud come off of him. But I still felt like when we came back, we were going to have to do something about that tail because I didn't want him to be, you know what I'm saying? I didn't want that to happen, the mud on his tail, right? So we put him in the kennel. Everybody's good. We fixed the mud problem because we got the other dog out the mud and everything was cool. And we're fixing it, right? So we leave him in the pen. Today I come back. That's yesterday from this thing. Today I come back and I go to the pen where Chess is and I immediately pull out my camera and start a video and send to you and Swag because all the kicked up mud that was so difficult for us to wash out or get out, or we were coming up with all these solutions on how to fix it.
Right.
It fixed itself just by being out the mud. And you can hear me on the video. I may put a little clip on there. And I said, one day out the mud. It's one day out of the mud that cleared him up from everything that was kicked up on him. Now, we're talking about addiction right now. Are you with me? You follow me? One day out the mud. And it immediately did what it was supposed to do to clean the tail off. It did what we couldn't do. Right? So you know, we smart, EJ. You know, us humans think we're so smart, right? Knowledge of good and evil, right? So we think, oh, we got to do all this to do this to the tail and all these different things that these step programs and these, you know what I'm saying, we're going to go take this through a process. We got to dip his tail in something.
Yeah.
And we got, because all this stuff that we're trying to figure out the knowledge, right?
Right.
When in actuality, and the proof of it now is all we had to do was get him out the mud. EJ, one day out the mud, and it cleared up the problem that we was trying to figure out how to fix. One day out the mud. I said on the video, and then it hit me. I'm walking, and I'm sharing this. I'm sharing this probably early. I told Nakia about it, but it's hard for me to hold stuff sometimes. But it changed me because I kept on hearing one day out the mud. One day out the mud. One day out the mud. You know me. You know what I did next. I went and bought the domain. OneDayOutTheMud.com.
Domain king.
I bought OneDayOutTheMud.com, and I bought one DOTM. One day out the mud. But what I found out is this. Watch this. And immediately the Lord started speaking to me, right? And I hate saying that here because for people that watch from different backgrounds, the Lord started speaking to me, started revealing some stuff to me, and immediately took me to the rich, not the rich and ruler, the prodigal son. And he did what he wanted to do. He said, Father, y'all got to go read the story. We'll find a chapter, put it on here. But he went, I wanted what I wanted. So I take my inheritance, I'm going to do what I want. They say he lived a riotous living. But it ends up, he ran out of everything, and now he finds himself, watch this, in the mud. He finds himself in the mud. They say he was in there eating slop with the pigs. And we all know that the pigsty always is full of mud. That's what the dog thing is. We had to clear it up, right? He's in the mud. And it's once he's in the mud, they say he came to himself. Listen to it. The way he described it, he came to himself, and he said, surely, he said, I can go back to my father's house and be a servant and live better than this. So I don't even have to go back being the son or go back and ask for my position back. I'm going to go back and ask for a lower position. Because clearly, the Lord's position at my father's house, that's so dope, man. The Lord's position at my father's house is better than being in this mud eating the slop.
Right.
So he goes from being in the slop in the mud to the next thing, going to his father's house to try to apply for a job as a servant, right? We know the story. The father comes running to him and say, my son. He come and he fell on him. He said, my son. He said, my son that once lost, now he's found, right? And he tells the older brother, and we go through the whole story. He threw a party for him, put a robe on him, put a ring on his finger. And he said, the older son was mad, da-da-da. He said, look, my son that once was lost, he was found. He once was dead to me, now he's alive, right? And it's a parable Jesus is giving. But he's in the mud one day, and the next day he's out the mud. All it is a decision. You ready? And it was a humble decision. I decided that the mud is not where I'm supposed to be.
Yep.
So I can go be a servant in my father's house and be better than being in this mud, in this slop. One day out the mud. Again, that's going to be the name of this podcast. One day out the mud. And and I don't know how long the journey was or whatever, so I'm using that, but based on how we read it, and based on what the parable is, one day out the mud, he goes from the mud to being back in his rightful place in who he really is by deciding to get out the mud. And it hit me, EJ, it hit me. One day out the mud. And there's some things that I'm working on personally, right? And it hit me, and it changed me, and it inspired me. Because many times in life, we think that we have to accrue this number of days since the last time I fill in the blank, whatever you want to say you did, and that's going to be my level of holiness, right? Or, you know, if I'm this far removed from this relationship, or this far removed from this mistake, or this far removed from this addiction, or I'm so many days clean, or so many days whatever, you know what I'm saying? Then that becomes my merit for who I am, right? And listen, there is, look, I'm gonna clap for it because there is some progress in that, right? I'm not saying that there's no progress in that, but sometimes I heard a man tell me one time that Jesus works. He says therapy, you know, counseling, all that stuff works. He said, but sometimes Jesus just take his hand and do like this. One day out the mud. Well, how much therapy that boy had to go through sitting by the pool of Bethesda?
Right.
How much therapy old boy had to do after? Boy, this is crazy. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry for what I'm about to say. Because I tweeted one day, and I know people get upset, but people got T-shirts, therapy and Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense. Because if you really had Jesus, you wouldn't need therapy. I'm not talking about
at all.
I'm not talking about you don't need to be counseled in your mind.
Right.
But if you really had the true Jesus, not the church Jesus, or not the religious Jesus, not the bless me, Lord, take me to heaven Jesus, but the Jesus really speaking to you out the red words, because here we are, the red words, right? That Jesus, right? That Jesus, right? Is gonna. Can you go drop the F on me because they say the camera getting hot? That Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. Would give me all the therapy that I need.
Right.
You get me? It would show me all the truth about myself. You get me? So watch this. Jesus will wipe it out if we brought it to him, but we don't bring it to him, so we're trying to work it out. It just takes a little longer sometimes, and sometimes you never get free of it. But one day out the mud, right? Now I'm not talking about a 30-day plan.
Right.
I'm not talking about a 12-step program. I'm not talking about doing it for 2 months. Right? What you saying?
Don't we call the Holy Spirit the counselor?
Call him the counselor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that biblical?
That's
or
biblical.
we just call it?
He's counselor. He's counselor.
That's therapy.
God, you know the truth.
Yeah.
Show you things that you don't know
That's therapy.
about yourself.
That is therapy.
Right.
All right, but watch this. Watch this. This is what I know. And it's a two-part thing. One is Jesus and the Holy Spirit have not been presented properly
Yeah.
to give you the therapy that you need.
Right.
You get me? He said, well, Jesus will work through the therapist. Cool. This is not a anti-therapy type conversation. But I do know that Jesus,
Well, he who have ears to hear.
he who has ears to hear.
So you hear what you hear.
You hear what you hear.
If the therapist,
And
you're going to hear better than the Holy Spirit speaking to you, then that's what you're going to end up
and
having.
you say he who has ears to hear. I'm going to get another one. You ready? Be it to you
Yep.
according to your faith.
Yep.
Now that part kind of works me up, because a lot of people have faith for that because people have been saying it.
Yeah.
It's a catchphrase. It's popular now. So because you say, oh, you got trauma. Oh, you need to deal with your trauma. Well, why is it your trauma? Why are you owning it?
Yeah.
Why is it not the trauma that happened to you? Catch the phrase. Why is it not the trauma that happened to you? Now see how slick it is? Right there in that slick moment, they get you to own something, right? And when you own it, your name is on it.
Right.
Your name on them papers.
Right.
So you own your trauma. No, that's not trauma. That's something that happened to you.
Yep.
That's some trauma that happened to you, but your life situation is not your life. The trauma that happened to you is not who you are. One day out the mud, though. Now, see, watch this. It is very convenient for the medical field as well for you to keep coming to sessions.
Yeah.
The preachers too. It's very convenient for you to keep coming having counseling sessions because they're leading you out. And I'm not being derogatory, but it's very convenient for them feeling purposeful. But here it is. Ready? One day out the mud. One day out the mud, EJ, and every problem that we were trying to fixed itself. I'm talking about there was nothing in that tail. One day out the mud. Lord started talking to me.
I got a question. When you said it, is it like daily? This is like the thought, the truth that you understand daily?
Well, yeah.
One day out the mud?
Yeah. Girl, here we go.
Yeah.
You just said it. Come on, let's say it. Our Father.
Yep.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Watch this. I got two for you in that chapter 6. Our Father who art in heaven is verse 9. Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth, in me, because we the earth, as it is in heaven. Give us what day?
This.
What day?
This.
Come on, girl. That's why I married you. You know what I'm saying? She finishing my rebel. Give us what day? This day, our
Daily.
one day out the mud. Our daily bread. Now watch this. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and power and the glory forever. Amen. I want to finish it, right? A little further down in chapter 6, he says, watch this. Take no thought for tomorrow.
Right.
All you need is one day out the mud.
Hold on. Because the only day you got is one.
Right.
The only day you got is this one.
So the plan, the what you're trying to say is people make a plan to get out.
Okay.
And they celebrate the days that have passed. And they look into the days that they're coming to, that they know they got to fight something or beat something every day. But if you just think about that one day, and you don't think about tomorrow as a day you have? Like you take no thought for tomorrow and you take no thought for yesterday?
Well,
You one day out.
Well, first of all, taking no thought from yesterday means old things pass away, behold, all things become new.
Yes.
So I'm not attached to yesterday's failure.
Right.
Which happens sometimes, right? But take no thought for tomorrow. Also, all right, I got a question for you. How many times you made a plan and got off of it?
Right.
Too many.
Today, right? Like, right? And then one day out the mud, today out the mud, right? Like, how many times have you made a plan and say, for the next 30 days, or for the next 40 days, or for the next 5 days, or for the next 2 days, I'm going to do something, and the pressure, and see, people come up with excuses when you say stuff like this, but it's so clear. So I want the clarity to really hit people of the simplicity of what's going on. The one day out of the mud, the one day out the mud, that's why I said it, is a simplicity. Because sometimes there's a pressure that comes along with trying to do something. Okay, I always ask this question, right? How do you eat an elephant? What's the answer?
One bite at a time.
One bit by bit, one bite at a time. So, but the size of the elephant and knowing that I have to eat it can intimidate me.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yep.
But when I realize, give us this day what? Our daily bread, this day. Then it's one day at a time. It's the day. Today I'm out the mud. Right? Tomorrow the evil is sufficient of itself. Right. Like the temptation for tomorrow are gonna be what they want to be. But you know what? Today I'm waking up and it's one day out the mud. And when I go to sleep, today was one day out the mud. And when I get up in the next morning, you know what? It's one day out the mud. Because I'm not out the mud. Yep. And the one day out the mud gives me my momentum. Now the mud, EJ, can be bad mental thoughts. It can be bad music states that I'm taking in. Mm-hmm. It can be bad things that I'm watching. It can be a bad habit in my diet.
Right.
It can be bad relationship. It can be bad communication. Right? It can be whatever you want to fill in the blank. Those things are the mud. It becomes the sludge that's holding you down. Mm-hmm. And all it takes, hear me, EJ, you ready for this? You hear me, the kid? All it takes is one day out the mud. And if I can get one day out the mud, then tomorrow, I get one day out the mud. Then the next day, I get one day out the mud. You know why? Because that one day is the only day that I got.
Right.
One day out the mud causes your freedom. You won't be free. Mm-hmm. And you can say it right now while you're watching. I am free. Y'all can say it too.
I am free.
I am free because it's one day out the mud. And this is all Jesus saying. Take up your bed and walk. Go wash. Go wash your eyes. It's one day out the mud. It wasn't a 3-month program.
Right.
And 3 counseling and therapy. This boy.
He had no session.
EJ, this boy was cutting himself.
Because how can he say go and sin no more multiple times to people and not have to follow them around and check up on them?
So I'm saying, because it's one day out the mud.
No counseling session. Right.
He understands. That's why he says seek ye first. Watch this. You ready for this? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna give you a couple of them, then we'll be done. You ready? Seek ye first the kingdom of God. There's one. Mm-hmm. I just need you to do one thing. One thing you're lacking, rich young ruler. Watch Mary and Martha. Mary has chosen that good thing because one thing is needful. What is that? You just need one day out the mud.
Yeah.
You need one day out of false identity into your true one. One day out the mud. And one day out the mud will be your freedom. One day out the mud will be your freedom. This is RedIn30, guys. We make you RedIn30.
One day out the mud.
One day out the mud. That's powerful. One day out the mud. And it could be easy.
Right.
It could be easy.
It could be easy.
One day out the mud. This is RedIn30, guys. We out. Yo.